Welcome everyone to Tripp's art class. Today we're going to be doing a draw along. And for today's draw along, we're going to begin by drawing the letter F. Now, before we begin to draw the letter F, I want to encourage you to sketch it. Very loosely sketch that letter F. Don't go and push really hard on that pencil. Pick up that pencil loosely, maybe use a mechanical pencil. That might encourage you to draw a little bit more lightly and begin to, in the middle of your paper, sketch the letter F. Now today we're going to be drawing, since October is on its way, it's pretty soon here after September, we're going to be drawing a fun monster like Wolfman, some Wolfman creation. So here what we're going to do next is we're going to begin to sketch out some curved lines. We're going to zoom in a little bit so we can see those a little bit more clearly. We're going to sketch out some curved lines. Now, they don't have to be perfect because we're still in the sketching phrase. We're still in the sketching phase of our artwork. Okay, then we'll go ahead and draw some other curved lines. This will be the pupils. And then what we'll do is we'll just kind of add some lines coming here. So you can kind of sketch those out. And then a line coming here. Those will be kind of the bags that are underneath this Wolfman monster's eyes. So from there, let's go ahead and move on to the next step. The next step, and good thing we have this part of the F right there, we're going to draw a curved line that's just going to kind of curve down from this corner to the end of your line. Now what I want to encourage you to do is maybe turn your sketchbooks so you can make that curve line a little bit easier. Sometimes we do that and it really helps us out a lot. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Let's go ahead and continue to work on this Wolfman monster drawing. We're going to draw a curved line here. Now keep in mind, these are all sketched lines. They're not going to be the official final lines. We're just sketching away. We'll do one here. And when we sketch, we want to think about it as if we are molding with clay. Nothing's set in stone yet, so we're drawing things so lightly that we can easily change them if we want to. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next step. Over here, we're going to draw a curved line. Look at that curved line. And I'm just going to kind of sketch it out. See how light my pencil marks are? And then I'll mold it out here to get it exactly the way I want it to be. And there we go. That's going to be the horn for the Wolfman. A little tip here, when we're drawing very cartoony and maybe cute monsters, we don't want to have like these sharp spikes. You know, we don't want to do that. We want to have it to be, we want it to be smooth, as we're seeing here. Sharp edges really change the feeling of the artwork. Just go ahead and put some lines. We'll put in a line here, and a line here, a line here, and a line here. So that'll be kind of the hair right there. And let's go ahead and continue. This one, we're going to go back to underneath the nose here where the F originally was. Between these two nostrils, or two sets of curved lines, let's go ahead and draw a curved line right here, and then we'll do one like this. And as you can see, once we do that, the mouth begins to form. Okay, next up, let's give this Wolfman some fangs. Same thing, we don't want to do super sharp, okay, because we want this to be kind of a cute looking Wolfman, so we're going to keep them curved. See how they're curved here, they're not super sharp, and that will change the feeling to more of a cartoony, gentle Wolfman, which is kind of what we're going for. Nothing too creepy. And then from there, let's go ahead and give him some kind of like a beard. Just put some lines here. See how loose these lines are. Okay, be relaxed. This should be very relaxing. Loose lines. Okay, over here, if we go from the horn, from this part of the horn, we carry down a little bit underneath his nose, right there. We're going to draw a line that's going to come down, a curved line. It's going to come down to kind of like almost at the bottom of his beard. Okay, and we'll do the same thing over here. This one's going to come out a little bit more to the right though. As you can see, we can start to see the arm up here. Now we want to keep these, keep your shapes here very curved, because we want to continue with the cute monster look here, nothing too creepy or violent. And you can change your fingers if you want to, but that's kind of cute and that's very simple looking. Okay, we don't want to do anything too creepy. Just going to kind of keep it kind of fun. Let's give him some hair on the back of his head there. Keeping these lines loose, okay? I really hope you're paying attention to how loose I'm keeping this, because that's one of the goals. Just going to put some little guidelines here for his horn. And let's go ahead and move on here. Let's add the other horn. The other horn is going to appear right here, because it's going to be kind of behind his head. So I want to kind of match this one. So we can do that right here. Okay. Maybe curve this up a little bit. So that's what I'm talking about when I say we're going to sketch like we're molding clay. If you don't like it, you can just change it. And let's go ahead and move on to the legs. So here we're going to go ahead and just put some lines here for his fur. And then we'll go ahead and pull out a curved line right here. His feet are going to be very simple. There's one, we'll do another one right here. There's two. We'll pull this one down here, and there's three. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw some straight lines. What I like to do is sometimes I like to turn my paper so it's easier to draw those straight lines. You don't have to do that, you can draw them this way. Now I'm going to take my eraser and we're going to start to erase a few things that I don't want here. These lines are a little bit too big. And then I'm going to draw a curved line. A curved line going right here. It's actually going to go up to down, so it's going to diagonally go from the top left to the bottom right. See how it kind of curves down? Same thing for this one. We'll go ahead and put in some toes. Kind of like has like hoofs with toes, I don't know. And then we'll go ahead and put in some fur in his hands too, right there. Okay. And then from there, I'm going to step back and I'm going to look at our creature and kind of see what else can I do here. I'm kind of liking him. I'm liking the way he's turned out so far. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take an eraser and I'm going to lightly erase some of this. So you can do this just by barely touching your drawing with an eraser. You don't want to push super hard, but just lightly, so it just loosens everything up, especially areas where you might have gone a little bit darker, like right here. So you want to change it up here where it almost looks like you're tracing. Just very, very loosely put that. Oops, don't do it too much like I almost did. You can barely see it. And then what we can do is take our wooden pencil. So change your pencil now to a more of a dull wooden pencil. And that's what I'm doing. Got my dull wooden pencil. I'm using digital pencils, but I changed the opacity to make it a little bit darker, like a dull pencil would be. And this is where we're going to begin more of the, what some people might call the inking process, but we're using pencils, so we're just really finishing up the line work. So this is where you might want to turn your paper to really make these lines nice and straight. So this is where you're not going to be just sketching anymore. This is where you're really paying attention to those lines. So I'm going to choose, continue to work on each line here. And really, this process is kind of like tracing. Similar to tracing. This should be where you really work on steadying your hand. And it's kind of like tracing. So for those of you who like to trace, this is your time to shine. I always have at least one student during the school year that says, "Trip, can we erase? I mean, can we trace?" Of course you can erase, but can you trace? And I'm like, absolutely not. I leave a little area here, a little light reflection. I'm gonna make those pupils come to life. Maybe add one right there too. Clean them up a little bit. So you can do that just by, this is where you might want to use your pencil eraser for little parts like that. So as you can see, I'm turning my sketchbook, which is actually my iPad Pro, since I'm drawing digitally, to be able to get those lines as straight as possible. Now we could obviously use a ruler, but I want to practice doing it without a ruler, so you are not dependent upon a ruler for everything. You don't always want to be dependent upon your tools when you're drawing. And we're finishing up here. Now, a lot of people might think we're done, but we're really not, because we're going to go in and we're going to talk about line weights. Some people will call this line width or line width variety or weight variety. So I'm going to look at these lines, and right now they're all pretty much the same. They're very, very similar lines. And maybe I might want to put a few marks here too. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to think which lines should be thicker and which lines should be thinner. Well, one little trick that's easy to do is the lines that are on the outside of your character typically look better if you make those ones a little bit thicker. So see how I'm going over those? Not the ones on the inside. The ones on the outside. So I'm going over those, making them a little bit thicker to make them pop. And when you go over lines, they typically get thicker just by going over them, and especially if you're using a more dull wooden pencil, they're going to be thicker automatically. And so I'm going to do that with a horn as well. Notice I went over the horn, but I did not do the part right over the eye. I didn't do that part. So I'm doing that on purpose, because I want the outline to be the part that's thicker. Now this is kind of fun too. Since this is hair, and hair is typically thicker to thinner, I'm going to make this part in the bottom a little bit thicker. Kind of like we would eyelashes. Do the same thing with these ones. I want the bottom hairs to be thicker. There we go. And then I'm going to move on to some shading. Now, you can definitely do some shading in the nostrils. And let's see, oh, I can work on these hairs too, make them a little bit thicker to thin. So thick to thin. And these hairs as well. Maybe clean that line up a little bit. Then I'm going to step back and kind of look at this guy and think, is there any other lines I can clean up? I kind of want his nose to stand out a little bit more, so I'm going to thicken up that line just a tad. And I forgot to draw these lines, my bad. These lines that go under the eye like that. So I don't want to forget those. And that's why we always want to look at our work and make sure we're not forgetting anything, because we're not perfect and we make mistakes. So I'm going to step back and look at my character here, my little monster man. I kind of want the mouth to stand out a little bit more too, so I'm going to thicken up that line just a tad. I'm going to look back and think, are there any other lines that I kind of want to stand out? And yes, maybe the eye. Okay, I'm going to look at that again, assess it. I'm thinking, oops, these feet could go a little bit darker. There we go. A little bit thicker. And there, check out our character. There's our Wolfman monster character. So I like him. He's kind of fun. He's very simple. We all started with that Y. And there he is. Let's see if I can center him a little bit more. There we go. There we go. I think that's good. I think that's good. Okay, well, thanks for hanging out today at Tripp's art class. Hopefully you had a good time drawing your Wolfman monster. Okay, if you're doing it for my class, you are done. If you're just doing this for fun, feel free to go back and color it, and I'll catch you next time.